So I have 100% undeniable proof that LeBron James is going to be leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers after this upcoming season. I'm going to be going over all the potential candidates as far as teams he could end up on or players he could team up with. Make sure you stay till the end of this video, that way you gather all the information and you're ahead of the game before it actually happens. If you didn't know, we pin an Amazon gift card at the top of our comment section on every single video. All you have to do to win is drop a like on this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications by hitting the bell. Being one of the first people to our videos every day gives you the greatest opportunity to win. Alright, what's good YouTube? Bring you guys another video like I do every single day here on the Sport Hub channel. Once again, bringing you guys the latest news, latest rumors around the league. And obviously, if you've been paying attention to our pages of late, pretty much all of the headlines have been surrounding the fact that Kyrie Irving has demanded a trade from the Cleveland Cavaliers, no longer wants to play alongside LeBron James, basically wants to be the star of a franchise somewhere else, pursue other opportunities, and has even been caught publicly mocking LeBron James along with Stephen Curry while hanging out with other players from other franchises, so on and so forth. I'm sure that the majority of you guys have been staying up to date with all of that. But as far as the topic of today goes, LeBron James will be leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers after this upcoming season. I have undeniable proof. If you look at all of these as an entirety, you would already know that there's no way he is staying with the Cleveland Cavaliers from this point on. Alright, so getting into it, I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I'm just basically going to run through every single idea individually, and I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below, so don't forget to actually get involved with this video because I actually want to respond and see what you guys think about this entire situation. So basically, if you've been paying attention to LeBron James on social media or all the headlines surrounding them, obviously there's been a lot of media coverage ever since this Kyrie Irving, news broke. Basically, LeBron has been surrounded by so many players on so many different franchises as of late, whether it's just been hanging out, working out, practicing, so on and so forth. It's leading the world to believe that he is definitely plotting on leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he doesn't necessarily know personally where he's going to end up. He's kind of trying to scout the talent in the NBA and see where his opportunity could potentially lay after this upcoming season. Now, obviously, if you've been paying attention to LeBron James, you know that his contract is up after this season and he's going to be a free agent next summer. But that doesn't mean that he's the only player that's going to be a free agent. You got star talent in Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Dwayne Wade, and plenty more options as well that are going to become free agents. And don't forget that there's so many super teams in the NBA right now that are forming basically through trades, and that's what this year's offseason and last year's offseason proved, that since the Cavaliers and Warriors keep dominating and they're the dynasties of today's era, every other franchise in the NBA is trying to do whatever it takes to build up their roster to compete with that. And the only way for that to actually become an option is one, drafting great young talent at the top picks, or possibly trading away assets such as draft picks, role players, or maybe even stars for other stars to basically revamp your roster for the future. That's what a lot of franchises have been doing over the past couple of years, basically giving away some of their star talent for maybe little to nothing, just because they're just trying to get those contracts out of the way. They're trying to just basically rebuild. They know they have no chance. That's basically how things have been going. And when you look at this year's offseason, you got Paul George being traded for Victor Oladipo, you got Jimmy Butler traded for Zach LaVine, so on and so forth. Obviously, one team had the bigger deal in that situation. Now, obviously, with such star talent becoming free agents after this upcoming season, so many franchises in the NBA are actually preparing for that future by clearing cap space, trading away players just to get those contracts out of the way. That way, they can offer the max contracts possible and potentially bring in other stars along with the star talent they already have, or just bring in multiple superstars in general. That way, they can instantly become contenders. I mean, you got LeBron, Westbrook, Wade, Paul George all becoming free agents, so teams like LA are already preparing for the future by just getting ready, having that money available to them, and just offering them the best situation that they can possibly put them into, because it is like a once-in-a-generation opportunity to get a player like LeBron James on your team, or potentially build a super team combining him with somebody else, like the young talent Lonzo Ball, like the veteran Paul George, like his ex-teammate Dwayne Wade. Teams want this to happen. LeBron James himself has said in the past that at the end of his career, he wants a team alongside Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony all on the same team. And guess what? LeBron, Wade, and Melo were all drafted in 2003. Chris Paul a couple of years later. The end of their careers is coming soon. They're at the brink of it. So what better time than the present to actually form this, especially with the fact that Chris Paul was traded to the Houston Rockets. Carmelo Anthony is rumored to, basically prefer that destination over everywhere in the NBA, and most likely will join them within the next couple of weeks. And then you got LeBron James and Dwayne Wade becoming free agents after this upcoming season. James Harden just signing a huge deal and dedicating to that. These are all signs that maybe they will all team up on the Houston Rockets, but that is definitely not the option on the table as far as the only one. Now, as far as this Kyrie Irving trade situation, it looks to me like the preferred destination from the Cleveland Cavaliers themselves is trading him to the Phoenix Suns for Eric Bledsoe and potentially some more involved in there. Guess who LeBron James was recently working out with? Eric Bledsoe. This just shows for a fact that he is actually preparing for the future, seeing who he's going to be teaming up with, seeing what they're made of, and he's also been working out with players that are going to become free agents like Dwayne Wade, Russell Westbrook, and then he's also been working out with players from the 76ers like Ben Simmons. So he obviously has a lot of relationships in the NBA, so obviously he could potentially, just be working out with them to work out, but that doesn't really necessarily make sense because he could be working out with his own teammates and just seeing, or basically building them up for the future rather than, looking at all this other talent as ways of, basically preparing for where he could end up. That's where I see that he's plotting to actually leave the Cleveland Cavaliers over it all because, like I said, he's got workout facilities in Cleveland. He's got his own. Why is he not working out with his own teammates? That is basically how you chemistry build, and it doesn't look like he necessarily really cares 100% about that because he already knows that the Cleveland Cavalier organization at this point in time is a mess. You had front office issues for over a month. They couldn't really necessarily make any of these trades that were rumored to happen in Paul George, Jimmy Butler, or Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo himself saying he doesn't want to actually join the Cleveland Cavaliers because, one, the front office issues are just a mess. The organization is just out of place with this Kyrie Irving situation. He said himself that he actually wanted to play alongside LeBron and Kyrie and be traded for Kevin Love. And since, the whole Kyrie Irving situation broke, yes, the New York Knicks said that they would give up Carmelo and first-round picks for Kyrie, but Carmelo has to waive his no-trade clause, and he said he won't do it if they trade Kyrie for him. He wants to play alongside Kyrie and LeBron. And since Kyrie is on his way out, and LeBron definitely is not showing any dedication to the Cleveland franchise, basically not, accepting that actual player option he has for another season after this upcoming season, it's showing that if history is going to repeat itself like it usually does surrounding these situations with LeBron James, he's going to be on his way out. If you remember his first time with Cleveland or at the end of his Miami Heat days, once the going got tough and there was basically injuries happening and just player situations, chemistry just falling apart, guess what ended up happening? LeBron James left them. He left the Cleveland Cavaliers, left the Miami Heat, and he's gonna leave the Cleveland Cavaliers again just because there's so many issues and they're not really necessarily prepared to compete with the Golden State Warriors. They made little to no actual moves in this year's offseason, only picking up Jose Calderon, Jeff Green. D-Rose was definitely a steal, but he only signed a one-year deal after LeBron recruited him. I wonder why that is, because they're probably just, taking this season as practice. If they win an NBA championship, then he would probably dedicate to them again. But to be honest, the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, Boston Celtics are definitely all dynasties in play and could potentially be leading their conferences in the next coming, years. They've all gotten better in this year's offseason. The Cleveland Cavaliers themselves did not. So them being the second best team in the NBA and still losing in 5 games to the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals, making little to no moves, are definitely not winning potential at this point in time. And LeBron is basically championship or bust. If he doesn't actually win the championship this year, he's going to be 3-6 if he makes the NBA Finals, which he most likely will. I don't really see the Boston Celtics taking them out. They don't have enough, potential as far as that goes. But I'm not going to count them out because the LeBron James team, anything is possible, and he could definitely carry them like he has in the past. He's still in his prime, still averaging some of the best numbers of his career, so you can't really necessarily doubt him. But as far as all the options on the table where he could end up, a lot of controversy surrounding the situation has been the fact of, people say that if he leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, he will not join an organization that is up to par with them or could potentially be better with him joining them. If he joins someone like the Los Angeles Lakers, then it looks like they have so much young talent in Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Jordan Clarkson, Julius Randle, Brook Lopez, all of that they wouldn't actually be up to par with the veteran talent they have on the Cleveland Cavaliers. If he were to join the 76ers, basically all them players haven't even stayed healthy, and they're pretty much all rookies. You got Joel Embiid, who barely played in his rookie year last year, who basically suffered injuries and wasn't even able to play when he was originally drafted. You got the young talented Ben Simmons, yes, who's anticipated to be a star in the league, but hasn't actually played an NBA game yet, was injured prior to his regular season last year, his rookie year, never ended up making it onto the court throughout the entire season. You got Markelle Fultz being drafted number 1 this year, being injured basically in one of his first summer league games. Who knows how his health is going to stand up. Basically, Philadelphia's cursed. If he were to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers, however, I could definitely see him joining the Lakers over the 76ers, obviously, but I feel like he's going to go to a winning organization like the Rockets or Spurs, basically considering a fact that he needs to win NBA championships to solidify his legacy, and that's the only thing that matters at this point. He's naturally just going to carry on getting records like he has been. He's been surpassing Jordan, Kobe, and everybody else, and obviously he's climbing on those Mount Rushmore levels of the records in terms of scoring, rebounding, assisting, all of that. He will naturally probably just get up there on the tops of those lists. He has to win NBA championships, and he knows this. It's basically, championship or bust. If they go the entire regular season and set records, he individually performs well, that's not going to matter if he doesn't win an NBA championship. I know for a fact that's all he cares about. He's constantly compared to Jordan, and the only thing that people really bring up in those arguments is, one, Jordan was more clutch, Jordan could score more, and the fact that he won more championships. If LeBron, basically performs better in the fourth quarters, if he actually carries his teams more often than not, if he wins these NBA championships in the remaining years of his career, then we'll definitely have an argument no matter how many finals losses he has. Obviously, it's a different era than back then. There's super teams like the Golden State Warriors that have 4 stars in their starting lineup. Michael Jordan never had to face any of that. So he doesn't really care about the criticism of people saying that he could never be Jordan. He's still striving to be the best player that he can be when it's all said and done. Now let me know in the comment section down below where you think LeBron James could potentially end up and what you think of this entire situation involving the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm curious on all of your thoughts, but basically, with all that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.